welcome to another edition of The Daily. I'm Samantha here with Josh Weisenhunt after a action-filled night in MLS. Big Wednesday night. Sporting KC, Houston Dynamo were the first game. Ended up pretty much where they started.
It was a good warm-up. Let's say that. It was a good warm-up to what would happen later. Of course, Sporting Kansas City, Houston Dynamo, these two teams have a lot of history, Sam. And the last time they met at BBVA Compass Stadium, Sporting Kansas City went in there, snapped Houston Dynamo's unbeaten streak at home. So you knew that Dom Kinnear's men weren't going to let that happen again. And on the Sporting Kansas City side, you're missing Graham Zusi, you're missing Matt Besler, I'm sorry, Peter Vermees. That'd be a pretty good player, wouldn't it? You know Peter Vermees wasn't going to go down there and really kind of let fly. I mean, they're in a good position, they shut it down, they got a draw, and really we're kind of status quo in the Eastern Conference, right where we were before this match kicked off.
Yeah, Kansas City still on the hunt for that supporter shield, Houston Dynamo.
Running out of time, though, Kansas City, for sure. They're still in a good spot, but they're running out of time for the Shield.
Well, second game of the night, this is where the action was. Vancouver Whitecaps versus Seattle Sounders. And I just need to say it, Kekuta Mane of the match here.
I see what you did there.
With a hat trick last night. Seattle Sounders have now given up 9 goals in the last 2 games. What is going on?
All right, so I don't want to crush the Sounders right now. We'll leave that for a little bit. You mentioned it. You have to talk about Kekuta Mane. I mean, the kid, when he came into MLS, he's 18 years old, coming out of the Combine, coming out of the Super Draft. No one really knew what to expect out of him. It's been an up-and-down year for him, in and out of the lineup. It was only his 4th start last night, and he came out and he showed what he can do. I mean, he can be a very special player for Vancouver down the stretch and, of course, in years to come. And he really brought it last night. And a lot of people left Vancouver for dead, but for Seattle, we talked about it.
Big problem.
No one knows what's going on with that back line. 9 goals in their last 2 matches. Michael Schmerning's not really making the saves that he needs to make. He talked about it post-game. So, of course, they're fine, but their shield hopes took a hit. And as for Vancouver, man,
on fire.
They might get in this thing. They might. And if they get in this thing, they could be very dangerous.
With this weekend being the final round of World Cup qualifiers, it's no surprise that other countries are already talking about future bids. One that we've heard rumors about yesterday, Mexico and U.S. possibly hosting in 2026.
Yeah, so this one raised some eyebrows in the Twitter sphere and everything like that. Sunil Gulati, of course, on the FIFA Executive Committee now, he was speaking about the World Cup bid process and the question of whether or not the U.S. is going to put in a bid for 2026 or beyond. He said, listen, the rules need to be clarified or they need to be changed or else there's really no role for the U.S. here. If the goal is to bring the World Cup to new lands, to new people, then we're not going to waste our time because, of course, we've hosted the World Cup before. The game is strong here. It's growing here. On top of that, but that said, if they were to bid, Liga MX president Decio De Maria, a former executive with the Mexican Football Federation, said, okay, well, if you're going to do that, then play with some Mexico cities too.
Could you imagine a Mexico and U.S.?
It would be crazy, but it would definitely raise some questions as well. Of course, you talk about a large geographic area. Where's the final going to be? Things like that. But that quote from Di Maria definitely raised some eyebrows. Should be interesting to watch.
Well, back to the 2014 World Cup. The U.S. have one of their last World Cup qualifiers on Friday versus Jamaica in Kansas City. Be sure to check out Brazil Bound, latest edition of Brazil Bound, coming out today on MLSsoccer.com. That's all we have today for The Daily. We'll be back tomorrow with more.